Hello, and welcome to Gaming Knuckleheads Talk, the show that critics are not even bothering with. Before we get started, I do need to address some of the recent bad behavior that's been going on within the chats of live streams, and we're going to be bringing down the hammer. And we got to do this to keep everything kosher, but going forward, there's going to be some rules in place, and the first one is flat out. Well, I know that we make a lot of raunchy jokes and stuff like that, but no sexual innuendo. We are grown-ass adults in our 30s and 40s. We don't know who the people chatting with us are. We cannot respond to stuff like that under any circumstances. Unless you're like getting on a fucking webcam, showing us a genuine ID that we can see is a legitimately issued ID in your state or country, we cannot do that. Second rule, and this is more of just like a YouTube will come after us if we don't enforce it, even if we don't agree with it. And we do agree with it to where it would not be protected under the First Amendment, but no hateful speech. Oh, fuck, they found me! Did that come out of you, Matt, or out of your speakers, Brent? Which one of you had the sirens just go by your place?
Oh, that was me.
Definitely can't be me.
But yeah, so it's no hate speech. And normally I would be like, look, you want to say something mean, that's fine. That's technically protected as long as it's not a threat of violence. But YouTube comes after people for not being all censorship because they own our asses. So we gotta we gotta push that in there. Third is no backseating unless given the okay. And just for the people who get confused, I'm going to go ahead and explain. By backseating, it's like, let's say you're playing Five Nights at Freddy's. We know for the first 3 nights, all you have to do is monitor Pirate Cove and then flip between the security office to check the doors. It's like, if we were like streaming Five Nights at Freddy's, and somebody comes in the chat and says, "You're doing it wrong. Why aren't you looking at all the other cameras? You have to go." That's backseating. Giving us advice, like if we're playing a game and we pass by a secret area that we're not aware of, that is not backseating. You want to say, "Hey, by the way, you can do that. There's a shortcut there." Okay, thank you. But telling us how to play the game, telling us like, "Oh, you have to beat every enemy on the screen in Super Mario World," like. No backseating, it's rude, And finally, no baiting the hosts of any live stream related content on here into saying anything that could get us in any form of trouble, that could get us kicked off YouTube, that could literally get the fucking Secret Service to knock down our door. There was a punk rock band in 2009 who wrote a protest song, and because of the title of the song, it prompted a visit from the Secret Service. Don't go to saying anything that would that would have the government knocking down my door,
Yeah.
And we're going to do a 3-strike policy for people in the chat who insist on misbehaving. Strike 1, you're going to be put in timeout by one of the moderators, i.e. the channel owner or Matt, because we don't have any other mods. 2, strike 2, you'll get put in timeout. We'll call you out like, "Hey, knock it off with the bad behavior, so-and-so." 3, you will no longer be allowed to interact in the chat and the comments. We will put you on the hidden users list on the channel. But because we're not going to just redo everything that we did to get rid of the questionable chats, and YouTube does not allow a non-family friendly channel to disable the chat on a whim. So we're doing this going forward. We're nipping the inappropriate behavior in the chat in the bud. It was cute while it lasted. Ha 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 ha. We're being all crazy, but it's been going a bit too far, and we gotta put a stop to it. And we will take an extra 5-ish minutes over the normal time to get all the topics out of the way because we had to do all this spiel. So first things first, what's probably going to be our shortest topic of the night because when I think of the only ports I'm ever familiar with are the ones that get ported to handheld. Not handheld game. I have never seen a handheld game get ported to a console. But apparently we have an expert in our midst. So Matt, take it away.
Well, actually, there was one like recently, like the Etrian Odyssey games for the Nintendo DS.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. But bear in mind, I'm going to stop you right there. Switch does not count because it's both a handheld and a home console since it does have the portability aspect first and foremost. It qualifies as a portable first, in my opinion. So.
Oh, well, it also got ported to PC.
Very nice.
And then there was Bloomings, which I think started on.
Game. Yeah. I have the remastered version on my Switch. I had Puzzle and Music on my phone, but you can't even play it offline without hacking your phone.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
And I think there was. I wish they would. Maybe Konami will make portable ops on and Metal Gear Acid on other consoles, but we'll see. And then there was like Mario, like the Mario Land games that Nintendo put on the Wii. Through the Virtual Console. Yeah. Along with Game Gear games.
Wait, hold on. Mario Land was never handheld. Virtual Console didn't come until the 3DS. Yeah, it's like the first console to have handheld games. Like the first console to have handheld games on Virtual Console was the Wii U. Speaking of, I do want to get some Mario and Luigi partners in time getting up here on the Let's Plays eventually.
But I mean, yeah, there aren't a whole lot of portable game console ports to bid systems. I mean, there is also like the Neo Geo collection that was ported to every major console.
One of many.
The Neo Geo Pocket collection.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like Neo Geo is like Atari. How many different collections have they put out?
Yeah, I know.
More than Namco combined, I want to say, because like what, one Namco museum per console generation. Yeah. All picking fun aside, though. Yeah, Brent, how about you? Any thoughts on portable games coming to non-portable consoles?
Well, aside from the fact that it seems that it's very common nowadays, considering there's not really any like portable gameplays on there, not counting phones at all, because I mean, personally, I see it as the way that's going into there, but I personally can't think of any that strike my interest or any that I've played like recently.
Right.
Wasn't there like Phoenix Wright got ported to PC? I think not just Switch.
What got ported to PC?
Phoenix Wright.
Hold on, one more.
Phoenix Wright.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. The Ace Attorney trilogy has been ported. Like even the original trilogy of games was ported to the Wii back in the day.
Yeah.
So apparently there have been some handhelds to non-handhelds that I've been well aware of.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And let's see, there was like Metroid. No, there wasn't any Metroid games as far as I'm aware. There was Metroid, the The Return of Samus, but that was only on 3DS.
Yeah, that was Game Boy to 3DS. That was handheld.
Yeah, that technically doesn't count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Metroid. There's nothing unless it turns out that everybody claiming the next console is going to be a new Switch. Unless it turns out that the next console is like a dedicated handheld that you can only play on. That you can only play on the TV. That you can't play portably. Because. And then like a Metroid game from a handheld system does get ported to it down the line, then yeah. And unfortunately, knowing Nintendo, that is the exact thing they would do because of Miyamoto's obsession with innovation. So yeah. Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of, let's see. I mean, I know that there have been probably a few PSP games, like maybe like, oh yeah, the Kingdom Hearts series.
Yeah, just Birth by Sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that I think like Recoded on the DS, I think that came second. Like I think Recoded was like a remake. I'm gonna check. Kingdom Hearts Coded, 2008 video game. Kingdom Hearts Coded is an episodic action puzzle role-playing game developed and published for Square Enix by Square Enix in collaboration with Disney Interactive Studios for mobile phones. A cinematic remake of the game was included in the Kingdom Hearts 2.5D Remix video game compilation for PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Windows, and Nintendo Switch. Oh, I'm sorry, Nintendo Switch, because you can't really play it on the Switch because you have to fucking go through the cloud because Tetsuya Nomura is a lazy motherfucker. I mean, you can say that, phones do or don't count, but the phone is something you carry around with you. I will say Coded started out on mobile phones and then got ported. But then I want to know, where the hell is the DS version? Because I know I played a version on the DS. I can't fucking find it on here. What the hell? Oh, there it is. Recoded. Yeah. Recoded came. Recoded came second. So Coded came first. So Kingdom Hearts Recoded would not. Coded, I guess, would count, but Recoded would not.
Yeah.
So anything that was on either the PSP or the DS, because I don't think Dream Drop Distance has made it to a console yet. Yeah, so anything that was on the PSP or DS and was included in a console-based collection after the fact, that would count too.
I wish I could count the new Persona Reload, but that doesn't really count because that's a remake. So
yeah. Now, if Persona Reload was made, then that would count.
Yeah.
So, exactly.
Which I've seen people playing Persona 3 Reload, and it looks pretty good.
How the hell are they not getting slapped down by Atlas?
Well, because Atlas relaxed their rules regarding all that.
Was in violation of fair use to American gamers?
Yeah.
And that by American law, they could not force American citizens to follow their laws unless those American citizens were visiting their country?
Yeah.
About goddamn time. I mean, that's really more of like a YouTube podcast type thing, but it's like fair use is fair use. And, I see it more so with some of the more stubborn companies in America and Europe, but it's much more prevalent with the companies in Japan. It's like, I know I'm going to catch a lot of flack for saying this. It's not about the country. It's about the person and their attitude. Pull your head out of your ass and understand. This goes for any country, not just Japan. Any country that thinks that people in another country have to abide by foreign laws when they're not visiting that country. Pull your head out of your ass and understand that your country's laws might be different than another country's laws.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Well,
we got any more to make on the list, or are we moving on?
let's say we could move on.
Move on.
All right. Okay, so our next topic is one that everybody talks about, but nobody really wants it to come, but it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, until Nintendo plays a hardware game, it's probably never going to come into full fruition. Well, our next all digital future.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a bit more of a prevalent topic because, well, it was either talk about it now or wait for a future episode with the Ubisoft debacle, but the Ubisoft debacle goes hand in hand with an all digital future. Like Ubisoft's president recently came out and made a very big statement. They said, we want people to be comfortable not owning their games.
Mm-hmm.
And this has led to a ramp up in video game piracy from what I've heard, because people are all over these videos on YouTube. They're in the comment section. They're saying, just remember, even though it's illegal to do this for real, just remember, this is morally acceptable. If buying something is not owning it, then pirating something is not stealing something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at this point, what's to stop people from petitioning here in the U.S.? What's to stop people from petitioning Congress to give special legalization to certain acts of piracy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And to quote Optimus, a YouTuber named Optimus, he made this example on why it's a problem for like not being able to own what you buy. It's like, let's say that you go to this, and I'm paraphrasing the way he said it, but let's say that you go to the store and you buy some lettuce, and a representative from the corporation that owns that store barges into your house and takes the lettuce away from you at any point in time that they want to.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it means to not own what you buy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like if you pay $60 for a digital video game, the only way that you should no longer be able to access it anymore is if you deleted it from your system and the marketplace shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think Nintendo is the only one guilty of that at the moment. I think Xbox and PlayStation do a good job of porting their older games to their newer.
Well, PlayStation a little less so, but Xbox has definitely gotten better about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like, and honestly, the all digital future is a big problem because unless the companies start banding together and giving you full access to everything, like not one marketplace per system, just a big full marketplace for all consoles by that company. You know? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I forget who it was, but there was a YouTuber who was like, contrary to popular belief, physical media is not game preservation. Apparently, the only form of legitimate game preservation is ROMs and emulators.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really made more so because of the fact that physical games can become rare and expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Or that like everything like deteriorates over time. Like the Super Nintendo sitting in the living room back there, it's been a part of my life since I was 7 years old, and my friend who gave it to me, I'm pretty sure he owned it before I knew him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the fact that it is still in good working order, still plays, still boots up, there's like no deterioration. And the only way there'd be any rot is if I opened it up and looked inside. But as far as I know, it's not gray anymore. It's yellowing, of course. I need to find a professional, but
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, and the only way to move past ROMs and emulators to actually make legitimate preservation is everything has to be backwards compatible permanently in the all digital future.
Mm-hmm.
And there's two big reasons that Nintendo would never get behind that. A, Miyamoto's dedication to innovation even when it's not necessary. And two, they're one of those companies who are like, at what point are they going to start telling people to stop playing old systems? Like, at what point are they going to be like, we're trying to set something up with other countries where if you're caught with an older system that's no longer being supported by us in your possession, you can get rid of it or we'll have you arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I do enjoy Nintendo games, but as a company, they are that fucking arrogant.
Mm-hmm.
Unapologetic mic drop.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But what are you guys' thoughts on the all digital future?
I mean, personally, I think it's honestly inevitable that's probably going to happen. And honestly, the other big issue with digital only is how exactly they're going to be handling that about. Because, I mean, imagine if you're someone who, like, say, doesn't have access to the internet. How are you going to be doing that? Like through cards, through codes?
Or if you're using a a company that likes to throttle people, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like throttling equals no good,
Mm-hmm.
bad.
Yeah, and what I think is they should lay down laws to where it should be like goodoldgames.com or GOG.com, to where you can download the game offline and play it offline, whenever and however.
I mean, like, that's something that Steam and Epic can get behind, because like I know that sometimes like a library system, like they have to run a server, and sometimes it crashes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the games that I would play through Steam, you can't buy them on Good Old Games.
Mm-hmm.
And when you buy them on Steam, you don't get access to the installers. Like the software is stored in your library, and you can toggle between what's installed and what's uninstalled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, certain games like the old Doom, you can take out the game files from the installation directory, but that's advanced stuff that most people don't want to fool with.
Look, if I can pull the installer out of the directory, I'll install a game and play it offline. You know, I paid for it. If I want to back up the installer, which for some reason, ever since I got my computer back from the repairs last fall, like ever since that, I don't know why, but my hard drive no longer likes to preserve installer backups. Like, I don't want them taking up space on my computer. If I install a game on my computer through an installer, I want to back up the installer to an external device and free up a little space on my computer, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Yeah. Full frontal. Give me my installers, bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's just like so many pitfalls with an all digital feature. So
Yeah.
it just, I mean, to me, it should be like optional between, you should have both physical and digital. You could choose, but then, like you said, also make sure it's backwards compatible when a new generation comes out.
Yeah. Because, like, I'll tell you right now, it's not just because of, like, the games that I've owned for the Switch and the fact that there's going to be games coming out. I'm not ready for the next Nintendo console. Maybe it's because this is a record longest time that the company's gone with something being supported with so much content and so many games.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the new system is going to come out, and it's going to be like, okay, I got to buy a new SD card. I got to, save up. I got to buy the new system. And it's like, oh, great. These are the games coming out for the Switch that I want to play, but these are also the games coming out for the new system. Like, when the Switch first came out, it was a little bit easier to manage with, like, the back and forth of the number of games I was getting for the 3DS in its final heydays compared to what was coming out on the Switch at the slow trickle. But the fact that Nintendo wants every fucking game under the sun on the Switch, even games that would literally crash and be completely unbootable on the system, like, there's going to be way too many must-play games on the Switch at the exact same time that the new console comes out, unless they trickle down and make, like, new system coming out between 2025, 2026, and they start to slow down by the end of this year, middle of next year, depending on the tentative release window for a new console. Yeah. Because, like, for 2024 alone, and this is excluding any surprise announcements that come out for games I want, my calendar of must-buy and must-play games is such. Mario vs. Donkey Kong, which I'm picking up tomorrow, Princess Peach Showtime, Paper Mario, and Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time. Anything else that would be a must-buy, must-play? I don't know yet. Outside of everything that was announced at the last Direct, I don't know what's coming new. Yeah. This, and in terms of must-play, right now, this is a slow trickle. This is what this slow trickle is exactly what needs to happen when the new system comes out. And you can you can go down to the comments and you can say, hey, well, that's just a warning sign that we're getting the new system by the end of 2024. All right, fine. But the only Pokemon game I will commit to, if any, is this allegedly rumored Gold and Silver remakes. Because I can knock that out in a fucking weekend. 2 weekends. One per game. Yeah. Speaking of the 27th, I've got to do a stream reaction to watch the Pokemon Day Direct just for the lulz. Watch it for the lulz and for the Pal World commenters. I don't really think we can push the digital future topic anymore, can we? Friends, has this ever happened to you? You're in the middle of, I don't know, say playing a turn-based RPG. You've nailed the controls. You know what to expect. All of a sudden, it's a first-person shooter segment. New controls. What the fuck do I do? Brent will now lead us in the topic on when a game changes its mechanics up spontaneously out of the blue.
Yeah, specifically, I don't have specific results to them, but it's more of a sort of when it's okay and when it goes a little too far. Like, personally, for me, if it's like a minor segment, like in a base sort of thing, I think, Gear, if you don't mind me talking about our current Let's Play.
Fatal Frame.
Yeah, I know. I was going to be saying, like, you don't mind me talking about that?
If it's
like that to me is a minor. That to me is a bit of a better example at times. I mean, sometimes you can get frustrating in certain cases, but in Fatal Frame, most of it is wandering around and either finding stuff or fighting off ghosts with a camera. And sometimes there will be certain segments where you have to do something else, like that piano puzzle and also the sliding puzzle sort of thing.
Aren't there like 2 piano puzzles at this point, though?
Yeah, I know, but I'm getting to the point
I'm genuinely asking.
I believe that, yeah, I think you're right. But the point I'm trying to make is that, like, that sort of thing to me is, like, okay, because it's more spaced out between, like, the segments. But for me, it's bad when it's, like, doing, like, new thing every single time.
Yeah. I mean, I think like a game that does like new thing every single time, I think that's very rare.
Yeah, wouldn't that be like Wario micro games or something, or
WarioWare?
Yeah.
Kinda, sorta. Like the idea behind WarioWare is that it's like a few seconds long micro games. It's just like try to score as high as possible. Like a good example, WarioWare touched on the DS. It's like it's mostly stylus based. There is one set of games that requires you to use the mic, but it's like one set of games will be like tap the screen. Another set of games will be like, draw circles. It's like WarioWare. Each game has a different set of controls, but I think the one that really has the most out there shift in gameplay mechanics is Get It Together, because they got really fucking fancy with that. The shadows are making it look like everything on that shelf is leaning diagonally for some reason.
Yeah.
But no. It's not leaning diagonally, people. Don't worry. It's just a trick of light. Anyway, but they do a good job of showing you when a new character is unlocked, how that character controls. Yeah, but WarioWare, it's very easy to pick up, very easy to understand. The only game that was ever really a problem was WarioWare Snapped, because it was quite literally unplayable due to the fact that it had like the camera. It made strict use of the DSi camera, and if you didn't line up properly, and the way to line up properly in the camera was you have this is an exact figure, by the way, a less than 1% chance of lining your face and hands up with the camera properly to actually play the game. People bought the game, wasted money on something that they were literally incapable of playing. Yeah. Now, I never owned an Xbox 360, but I'm pretty sure Kinect users never had that problem.
No, well, I'm not aware of any, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I never owned a 360 or a Xbox One, just the original and the Series S.
Yeah. Which one do you have, Brent? Do you have the Series X or the One?
Have the One installed, but I do have the Series X currently in a box.
You gotta find some free time in your schedule to set up the Series and then transfer everything from the One over, huh?
Yeah, I know. Just been busy.
Then it's off to the game store to cash in credits so we can get some games without having to pay out of pocket.
You don't tell me what I can and can't do.
Save yourself some money, treat yourself. It's less of I'm giving you an order and more of a I'm giving you some good advice because you're my friend. Yeah. And again, there have been times where just to afford a game, I've had to sell some stuff that I don't want to sell. So occasionally I kick myself. But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do and cross your fingers and hope you can undo it later, Yep.
I'm trying to think of gameplay change segment. Sometimes there's some of them in like action adventure games like God of War or Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh wait, I got the perfect one. There's going to be a lynch mob after me for this, but bear with me on this, okay? Anything by From Software.
Well,
I mean, in the Dark Souls games alone, the bosses have completely different sets of pattern recognition. Like, you get an idea of how to fight one boss, but then the next boss has a completely different pattern and rhythm to it,
Yeah, but I wouldn't really call that a gameplay change.
Yeah, true. It was still funny. You will not deny me that.
I mean, let's see. Where's another one? Let's see. Oh yeah, like the Pilot Wing series.
I was never really good at like learning flight controls through the Pilot Wings games. Like I have Resort on the 3DS, but I ever really only played it for like the free fly mode, flying around the island.
Mhm.
And I have the Super. I think I still have the Super Nintendo game in the storage closet on the porch.
Mhm.
But it's like, and maybe it's just because like they're like actual controllers or handheld systems, not like an actual like joystick that emulates like a flight controller.
Mhm.
But I never really found the the controls very easy to use.
Mhm.
Yeah. I feel like in like the Super Nintendo days, Nintendo should have released like a joystick peripheral, like a Microsoft Flight Simulator type thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't really have much trouble with the Planet Wing Super Nintendo version, but I've never played the Nintendo 64 one, so.
I've never played the Nintendo 64 one either. I just played the Super Nintendo and 3DS ones.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And let's see. Then I think some. Um, no, I think just mainly action adventure games and like well, some platforming games nowadays also really can change up things.
Mm-hmm.
Like remember in Gunstar Heroes, like that one level where you go to the dice
Palace, yeah.
stage. Yeah.
Yeah. Black's Dice Palace. Yeah. I mean
Yeah.
that one I found like to be more of like an annoyance because it's like if you land on the wrong thing, and they're very stingy about healing you up.
Hmm.
Like it's a fun game. I would definitely be down to pop into the Super Nintendo and play through the game. With a partner, two-player that shit up. But at the same time, it's also a massive. That stage is a. It can be fun because you got like the board game aspect, but it can be a massive pain in the ass with the way that the mechanics are set up there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some others.
Yeah. And I know it's more of the wisps, and I'm going to die on this fucking hill. I'm going to die on this fucking hill right here. Sonic Colors, the Wii version that was ported to the Switch.
Hmm.
Worst gameplay mechanics changes ever. Never mind the fact that once you get to Starlight Carnival, the game is just one big fucking set of gimmicks. It stops becoming a platformer and is just like gimmick after gimmick after gimmick. It got to a point where when I sold that game to GameStop for credit, I believe my exact words to the person that get this piece of garbage out of my sight. I am never changing my opinion on this. The DS version of the straight up classic Sonic 2D platformer is superior. It is the superior version. It is the better version. And you want to tell me that the console version is better because consoles are more powerful? Fine. I will die on this hill. They should have stuck to a more traditional Sonic Adventure, Sonic Generations type 3D platform for colors on the Wii and the Switch, Yeah. And that's why I like 2D Sonic better than 3D Sonic. They get too experimental and way too gimmicky with 3D Sonic. The only games I ever really liked were Adventure and Colors. Sorry, not Colors. Adventure, Generations, and Secret Rings. Because even though that is a little gimmicky and a little experimental, it is an auto runner and an actual platformer in the truest sense.
Hmm.
If I still don't have my Wii copy, and I will fucking look for it just for the hell of it because it's still fun. Some of the missions are a pain, but it still is a fun. And I just barely tolerate Sonic 3D Blast.
Hmm.
A bit of a disaster for Sonic's first 3D outing, but it is what it is.
Hmm.
And it could have been worse. Then again, Frontiers could have been worse. People were literally led to believe it was an open, empty game with absolutely nothing in it.
Hmm.
And then Sega tried to say, well, this is the direction you want to take this game. You just don't understand it because you made us think one thing and then we got something completely different.
Hmm.
That's why I didn't support Sonic Frontiers. That's why I didn't buy it. The way that they showed off the game was too deceptive.
Mm-hmm.
And now the upcoming new Sonic title that's coming after the Generations port is apparently going to have the same open zone format as Frontiers.
Mhm.
Did Sega learn their lesson? Are they actually going to show us and sell us on the game, or are we going to have another Frontiers where they just show us a bare bones alpha prototype and expect us to believe that's what we're getting?
Mm.
Because I'm looking forward. Like, I played a little bit of Generations on the PC. I played it fully on the 3DS. I don't have the 3DS copy anymore. But when I played it on the PC at the time, my PC was suffering from keyboard drift for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept getting my ass killed in Sky Sanctuary because, like, why are you pulling to the left? Move to the right, damn it! But I did like it. I love how the 3D segments are true, straight up 3D platforming. I love the fact that 2D segments 2D levels got re-envisioned as 3D levels and vice versa. Like, I'm looking forward to being able to play it portably on the go. And I am looking forward to seeing whether or not the Shadow storyline does anything good, or if it turns out to be as big of a laughing stock as the actual GameCube game was.
Mm-hmm.
And people call the Blue Blur himself the laughing stock.
Yeah.
I suppose those people are the ones who simp for Emo the Hedgehog.
Mhm.
I mean, as a character, it's pretty cool. And I'm going to say two things about Sonic Superstars, just because I'm going to bring it up, in the future. But if they had not been so gimmicky with the bosses, I'd say hell yeah, like a great game. But rather than giving us like character skins, I think it would have been better to develop some other characters in the Sonic universe for playable. Like, I learned about 3 characters that I didn't even know existed, because it turns out that they're on a mobile exclusive game. But they are Tangled the Lemur, Surge the Temric, and I had to look up what that was. It's some sort of echidna, anteater type mammal creature.
Mhm.
That's what Temric is. And Whisper the Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, between Styx the Badger and Sonic Boom and Trip the Sungazer in Superstars.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it's like, bring back a full roster of playable characters, except maybe Omega from Sonic Heroes, because like how are the E series robots gonna translate into a platform?
Yeah.
Without turning it into a run gun,
Mm-hmm.
Like if they had like more traditional bosses instead of like that gimmick bullshit, and if they offered like, hey, instead of like free downloadable skins, here's some free downloadable characters you can platform with, experiment with different styles of play.
Mm-hmm.
That would ramp up Superstars in my book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've been low-key tempted to buy it again when I have money and give it a second chance. But I really fucking hate how gimmicky the bosses are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I bought it a second time, I would say, Brent, I'm only buying this so that you can see firsthand just how, or, because, like, are you the kind of person, like, are you two the kind of people who you can get why something sucks by watching a video of it, or do you actually have to experience it for yourself?
Well, I kind of like to do both.
I can get it from just watching.
Yeah. Look up the boss fights in Superstars, Brent, and tell me they don't look horrible. And I'm not talking about like the sub bosses. I'm talking about the actual Robotnik fights when you finish up the zone and move on to the next zone.
All right.
Like after you watch it, tell me they don't look gimmicky. Like after the Lagoon City boss, I was like, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the reversible cover though. Like they did the same thing they did with Sonic with the physical re-release of Sonic Mania. They have like a Genesis style flip side cover.
Yeah.
So, that alone would at least be worth the box. Like if GameStop is like, hey, you want this empty Sonic Superstars box because we don't have any copies of the game in stock, but we have a box, so we got Sure. I'll flip it around to the side. I'll frame it. I'll hang it on the wall. The cool shit. But yeah, any more idle chatter, or shall I go on to the big reveal before we call it?
I say go to the big reveal.
Since we are between the three of us, somewhat floundering, coming up with topics behind the scenes, we're going to try to change up the format of Gaming Knuckleheads Talk a little going forward to keep it going, not just like, oh, we ran out of topics to talk about, so we're done. You know. For like, we'll start talking about like games, game franchises. Like, for example, like what I said about like I could bring up like the Superstars issue again in the future. We could do like a whole episode dedicated to the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, for example.
Okay.
And of course, we want to start looking up gaming. Okay, we lost Matt, but we also want to like start like commenting on like gaming news and whatnot too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight. So until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.